how to reverse engineer that to have predictable profits so that you can engineer your numbers to match your goals that we are setting. So we're going to show you how to simply process and calculate your room rate per hour. And some of you may have heard of that before. Some of you don't. Maybe you call it a different name, but basically it's understanding your utilization rates to use those numbers to make smarter business decisions so that we're able to develop pricing, packages, compensation, goals, and also hire, right? All of these things play a big part in understanding this one number, that room rate per hour. Okay, so I'm going to start with a story. I have a med spa and she's amazing and she's brilliant and she's super successful and she closes. But ultimately, she discounts. And, we're looking at her numbers, we're looking at her expenses. She just can't understand it. So we immediately dove and jumped right into, okay, let's look at your specials. I want all of your specials to come through me. I want to look at all of your numbers. I don't want you to discount anything. Let's figure out what our minimum invoice needs to be. And first of all, we needed to start with our break-even number. And if you're not sure what that break-even number is, it's really simple. It's your payroll, it's your expenses, and it's your cost of goods, right? But also in that break-even number, you also need to have that built-in percentage where you pay your spa and you pay yourself if you're an owner. Those things are really, really important. So we want to make sure that we understand that. And from that, we can reverse engineer our pricing strategy and we can stop discounting below our cost. So we did this with her and her practice, and we were able to, within a couple of months, increase her revenue by 20%. It was really simple. Understanding that just doing a treatment or a one-off or just getting a client to do something sometime is better than nothing, but understanding our minimum invoice spend was really clear in us setting a standard of success. And she was able to actually jump in and do that. She was not flying blind anymore, right? She was just throwing something out there, hoping it sticks and saying, well, something's better than nothing, right? If you're ready to do this for the business, and let's get started and jump right into this formula. First, you need to know, again, your monthly expenses. What are those? That's your cost of goods. Again, your payroll, your fixed costs like rent, utilities, software, your marketing, insurance, all of it. You want to take that full number and you're going to look at it over a period of time. The more, the better. If you can do year to date for your expenses, we can get a really good average for what it looks like on our spot in our business to start out, right? So we want to take that number and divide that by the number of hours you're open in the spa that month, right? Everything is different. Every month is different, but we're going for trends here because we have a couple of different ways to do this. Once you divide it by the numbers you're open, hours you're open that month, then you're going to divide it by the number of active treatment rooms you have in your spa. Now, I say active because I just did this with one of my med spas and they have 9 treatment rooms, but they only have 3 that are active, that are seeing clients. So, he comes to me super excited. Look at our room rate per hour. It's so low. We're so great. And I was like, no, we've got to now figure that out based on the actual capacity we have, which is 3. But then that's not the end of it. But let's give an example. If your expenses are $50,000 a month and you're open 200 hours and you have 5 treatment rooms, that essentially means that your room rate per hour is $50 an hour. But that's only if you're 100% utilized, right? That utilization rate is really important. And if you're not tracking your utilization rate, then you need to look at it by what is the number of hours you saw clients and divide that by the number of hours you were available to see them. That's your utilization rate. Once we understood that, well, then we look at it and we say, wow, I'm only utilized 50%. So now that number doubles. And now we know that our room rate per hour is essentially 100 at that time that we calculated. It's really crucial to understand this number because this is the minimum amount you want on an invoice per hour, not per client. That's different, right? Per patient. Sometimes appointments can go 2 hours, 2.5 hours, right? We're looking at it by the hour. So minimum invoice spend per hour. And so we want to talk about the utilization rates. And if your utilization rate goes up, what happens to that room rate? It goes down. So we want to look at how we can increase that. So if you have 200 hours a month and that you're using 150 hours of them, you're essentially 75% utilized. But that means that 25% of the time, that room is costing you money. Knowing your numbers really matters in this sense, right? It's going to help us to set realistic and clear goals, not only for our team, but for the entire facility, your business as a whole. So if your target is 90% utilization, you can figure out and reverse engineer it and say, okay, here's how many more appointments I need per month. Here's how many more packages I need to sell in order to hit that number. So it's the end of the year and we're looking at the year as a whole and we're having hopefully our one-to-one reviews with our team members. We're setting them up for success in Q1. Remember, your Q1 and Q2 success are really important because we got to get through that Q3, right, guys? We've got to get through that summer slump. And once we understand our room rate per hour, we can then review that with our providers. And I just did this literally this week with, actually yesterday with one of my clients. And it was kind of an eye-opener, right? They always say that, wow, it was astonishing. I can't believe this, but they have a provider and she's adorable and she's great. And she does these smaller treatments, but her clients love her, but her utilization is really in the tank, right? It's trash. And it's because she's just not confident. She's not really telling them what they need. She's not telling them the services they need when they needed to rebook. And so a lot of times she'll have one client that day or two clients that day. And when we look at the revenue and the lost opportunity, for me, I was challenging them to say, what are we doing, right? Let's pare back her hours to where we can fill her books, and then we'll expand her later. And let's get someone in here that's going to drive opportunity. It's going to hunt for their own food, right? They're going to get after it. And I told them, and I use this as an example, if you rented a room for the week at a hotel, if you rented a room and you were like, okay, I really want to go stay at this room. Oh, the bathroom's beautiful and the view's gorgeous and the I can get room service, but she's there. She's there 1 hour a day and she's there and she is, maybe she'll be there later. Maybe she'll get somebody else. Maybe she won't. So you literally shut that room off and you never get to go because you're just not sure when you can use it. It's the same thing. You wouldn't do that then. And why do you do it in your treatment rooms now? So finding those people that are going to fill those rooms is really important because that's going to make your success that much more achievable. A lot of people meet me and sometimes they think the glass is half full, but I am truly a glass is half empty girl for sure, especially in business. I'm always thinking about what comes next. What comes next for my clients? What comes next for my businesses? What comes next for what can happen, right? How do I be proactive instead of reactive? And this is how. I am consistently looking at my numbers. I'm looking at my projections and I am holding true to my goals so that we can truly hit it. I have another practice that, is renting a room. And I was like, okay, well, let's configure this. Let's look at this. What could this room be generating us per hour? What are we losing per hour? What are they paying you per month? And they're looking at, we're just going to need a new location. And I'm like, why do we need a new location? Let's shift this over here, change these hours. And now we have 2 treatment rooms for 2 new providers to generate revenue. Because if not, they were going to hit a ceiling. So we were able to shift that, maximize that. And now we're bringing on these new services they want without having to get a new facility, but understanding that one thing doesn't serve another, right? We don't just accept this as, oh, well, at least there's someone here, right? That's that glass is half empty. That's not how I operate. If you want to truly scale and grow, you need to be willing to really dive into these numbers and make those tough decisions. But if you want to get even deeper into the numbers, you can understand your room rate per hour as a whole, but ultimately you want to understand it by provider because every provider's utilization is different, right? So if you have a treatment room that is strictly assigned to Abby, now I can go in and I can reverse engineer the numbers a little differently. And I can take my pay, right? I can take the expenses and then the costs of that treatment and understand exactly what I need to make for every treatment and every hour that I'm in that room. And so, for example, if we look at, I'm making $35 an hour, my room cost is $50, then we know my break-even cost is $85 if I'm 100% utilized, right? Which is never really the case. We're never 100% utilized. So we take that and we figure out based on our utilization, what my minimum invoice spend should be per hour. So this is really important. And I have a few med spas that are kind of over here in pot C, right? I have the ones over here in pot A who are like, I have this one provider, and she down to the 4x4s that she uses in her treatments, she knows that service costs her $16.13, right? She's able to set goals. She knows exactly how to create baselines for her compensation. We worked on that together, and she's solid. And I have several here. But then I have my pot B, right? Several of my clients who they kind of know their numbers, they're tracking them, they're giving them to their team, but they really don't know how to implement them in a way that's going to help them generate more revenue. And then you have my pot C over here. And this is a lot of my clients that come to me at first. And you know, we have this really great financial intake that our financial guru Zeril has put together. And you know, we can dive into your numbers right away, right from the beginning. And it's really amazing because we're really able to help you give your wins, because again, these numbers are really important. But over here in pot C, they're like, well, I just know how much I make every month. And this is how you can reverse engineer it. Start, what are your expenses? How many hours are you open? How many treatment rooms do you have? And now we have a general number. But when we're looking at our providers and really trying to maximize the use of this number, we can then take their utilization rate. We can take their hours. We can take their pay and now be very, very specific. Because I had this conversation this week with one of my clients that it was interesting because they were like, well, I make this amount of money, so it's okay if she only does $60 an hour. And I'm like, okay, well, that's why you're scared to take a week off to go on vacation. That's why you can't ever be sick, because if you're not working, then there's no revenue coming in. That's why it's really important that we hold a standard to everyone to understand what is their capacity, what are they able to do, and give them a minimum invoice for that client. Now, understanding that we're a med spa, so really, truly, we're not giving people things they don't want. We're a plastic surgery center. We're a dermatology office. We're a wellness facility. Everybody wants everything we have, right? They want all of it. And so we're giving them the tools to get the results they desire, but we're just not settling for these one-off treatments or it's okay, I understand, call me when you're ready. So giving them these goals is really what's going to be essential in setting you up for success. If they're not, we do have a provider excellence training on YouTube that I did a few months ago or whatever. Get on there, watch it. It's really informative on how to hunt for your food, how to have a great, an excellent provider. I learned a term yesterday from MJ that works with us, med assisting. You know, are they in the room? Are they like assisting the provider? Are they learning about other treatments? Are they sharing their expertise with other providers? Are they shadowing? That's really important. So provider excellence plays a part in this, and understanding their minimum invoice, minimum hour rate that they need to generate is going to be really powerful. It's also going to help you when you hire. If you're hiring someone and you know, like my one med spa, I was like, oh, our room rate per hour is only $350. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Okay, we need to jump into your P&L. We need to look and we need to really dive in. And here at Diamond, we do that. We get in and we can really cut the fat and really see where we can help you get that level down, because that's not realistic for some of your smaller providers, but your larger, you know, your really, really experienced wellness specialists and your injectors, if you have those high ticket items, of course. But how do you generate revenue and just not break even is when everyone is exceeding their goals, excelling. All right, so once you know your numbers, you know how you can create profitable specials packages that are going to generate that revenue and success in 2025. So something else that's really important is I've seen lately that with onboarding clients, that providers are offering, they're allowed to just offer discounts to their clients without any kind of accountability or oversight. And this sometimes will help us, this sometimes will show us that we're falling below that minimum number. We're falling below that minimum invoice. And so now they have a number, right? But you can give discounts up to this point, but after that, you can't do that, right? I'm not a fan of it, but if you're allowing them to do it, you absolutely need to have this put into play. You can also build packages out to improve your utilization rates as well, because you can build slower treatments with higher demand treatments so that all of your rooms are being used consistently. If you understand these numbers, you're going to see a change. You will, but you have to be willing to review them and adjust them quarterly. So when you're talking about goals for your team, you should be setting these every 90 days. You should be looking at these every quarter, setting realistic goals, looking at their averages for the previous quarter, and then and raising that by a percentage to continue to push them to their capacity, right? We're looking at that. So every quarter, we're also looking at our break even. What was our average spend in Q4? Right? What does that look like? We're doing that with all of my clients right now here that I'm working with. We're looking, what is our average spend this in Q4? What is it going to be for January? What is our expectation? What is our projection? And so now we know that our break-even number is here. And that again means everybody wins. If we hit that number and we go above it, everybody's winning. We should never have bonuses until we hit that number. And then we can reverse engineer from that break-even number to look at our room rate per hour as a whole for your facility and your business, and then also for each individual provider. And we are giving that to them as well as their Q1 goals for January, February, March, or whatever quarter that you're in, making sure we adjust accordingly so we're backing those numbers up. So this week, I really want to challenge you. I want you to get into your numbers. I want you to reverse engineer your profits. I want you to look at your pricing. I want you to look at your compensation. I want you to look at your invoices. Like, what is your minimum? Are you hitting that? When you're doing your end of year reviews, it's an easy report to pull to look at their numbers and say, and look at your provider and say, this provider is consistently not hitting their invoice target, right? Their utilization rate is trash. At that point, we've given training, we've done all the things. Like, we hire lifelong employees, right? We're going to give you everything that we can, but ultimately it does come down to what opportunities are being missed. So we want to help you do that. So reverse engineering your profits. You're not only going to close out 2024 strong, but you're going to set 2025 up for success with some clear, actionable plans for growth in your business. But if you're not able to do that, if you jump into those numbers and you're not able to find those, right? You're not really sure where to start, we can help. We can absolutely maximize your opportunity. If you know me, or if you've ever heard me talk about numbers, I'm in love. It gets me excited. I love spreadsheets. And so we can dive into your numbers here at Diamond, and we can help you calculate these numbers. We can help you set your goals. We can give you your projections. We can help you look at understand your metrics and your KPIs so that you're not flying blind, that you're not just throwing specials out there every month just to drive traffic when ultimately it's costing you money. So remember that the numbers do not lie. When you understand your business to this level, you're not only going to survive, but you're definitely going to thrive. So if you love this training, make sure you share it with your team or another med spa that could benefit. You can always catch our replay on YouTube, get access for more free trainings that will help you grow your med spa. Visit our link tree, our social bio, join us live every Wednesday at 2:30 Central Time, same place. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn.